Brought to you by...
Just when you thought the nightmare in the caverns was over, the studio couldn't resist milking it for more, sending us back into the depths and utterly ruining the impact of the previous film's climax. Hello friends, and welcome back to ETF. The Descent Part 2 was directed by John Harris, and is the direct sequel to Neil Marshall's critically acclaimed film from 2005. This one revisits the harrowing depths of the Appalachian cave system to continue the story of Sarah Carter, as she is forced to face her trauma and the monsters lurking below. While the sequel aims to build on the original's success, it delivers mixed results, raising questions about the challenges of crafting a follow-up to a near-perfect original.
The Descent Part 2.
This film faced the inherent challenge of being helmed by a different director, who was making his directorial debut no less. Harris, who edited the first Descent, was familiar with the tone and pacing of the original. However, stepping into the role of director, he faced the daunting task of expanding the story while staying true to the claustrophobic horror that made the first film so memorable. The production design retained the gritty, tactile feel of the original, with intricately constructed cave sets that enhanced the sense of dread and disorientation. The sequel also builds on the creature design of the crawlers, making them more grotesque and feral, while emphasizing their evolution as a threat. The decision to reuse some of the same caves and lighting techniques from the original creates continuity, but the sequel adopts a slightly brighter color palette, which undercuts the oppressive darkness that defined the first film. This was an ambitious attempt to replicate the success of its predecessor, but it struggles under the weight of comparison. The first film's ambiguous ending, in the UK version, left audiences haunted, with Sarah either succumbing to the madness or finding fleeting solace. With the sequel's decision to continue the story eliminates that ambiguity, opting instead for a more conventional survival narrative. In many ways, the sequel adheres to the tropes of horror sequels: higher body counts, more gore, and a faster pace. This approach sacrifices the original's slow burn tension and character-driven storytelling. For instance, the introduction of new characters, including Deputy Rios, played by Kristen Cummings, and Sheriff Vanes, played by Gavin O'Herlihy, adds complexity to the group dynamic, but distracts from Sarah's personal journey. In terms of strengths, the film delves deeper into the biology and behavior of the crawlers, offering a fresh perspective on their existence. The claustrophobic caves remain a highlight, maintaining an oppressive and labyrinthian environment. MacDonald delivers a strong performance, as she did before, capturing Sarah's fractured mental state and primal instincts. Its weak points begin with the fact that the film relies too heavily on recreating key moments from the first movie, diminishing their impact entirely. By showing the creatures more frequently and in brighter light, the sequel loses much of the original's tension and mystery. The new additions to the cast lack the depth and complexity of the original group, making their fates less impactful. This one leans heavily on the psychological trauma of Sarah. Now suffering from amnesia, Sarah is thrust back into the cave system as a part of a rescue mission to recover the bodies of her friends and locate missing cavers. Her arc serves as a sort of commentary on the cyclical nature of trauma, forcing her to relive her worst nightmare in a bid to find closure. Unfortunately, the exploration of Sarah's psyche lacks the nuance of the original. In the first film, her descent into madness mirrors the physical journey into the caves, blending psychological and physical horror. Here, her trauma is reduced to brief flashbacks, with less emphasis on her internal struggle. The dynamics of the rescue team introduce new themes of trust and betrayal. The group's cohesion is tested as desperation sets in, leading to paranoia and poor decisions. While this theme echoes the interpersonal tensions of the original, it lacks the depth of the first film's exploration of betrayal between Sarah and Juno. The crawlers do remain a central metaphor for humanity's primal fears: darkness, entrapment, and the unknown. The sequel, however, expands on their backstory, hinting at their ecological niche and survival strategies. While this adds a layer of intrigue, it also diminishes their mystique, shifting them from symbolic entities to mere creatures. Overall, the film is a serviceable sequel that struggles to escape the shadow of its predecessor. While it does effectively revisit the terrifying caves and the crawlers, it sacrifices the psychological depth and originality that made the first film a modern horror classic. Fans of the original may appreciate the continuation of Sarah's story, but the film ultimately feels like a pale echo of what came before. For those seeking visceral thrills and a return to the eerie subterranean world, The Descent Part 2 does in some ways deliver. However, its inability to match the thematic richness and emotional resonance of the first film ensures that it remains a lesser entry into this franchise, I guess you could call it. There's only 2 films, so maybe not. Well, friends, that's going to be all for now. If you enjoyed this one, I urge you to check it out for yourself. I have put a link down in the description on where you can get a copy to add to your collection. If you went and bought the first one, you might as well own the sequel too. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like, subscribe for more content, and if you really want to help support this channel, please come find us on Patreon. Every little bit helps this channel grow and gets us closer to that goal of being able to make videos for you full time. Until next time, stay safe. Don't go back in the fucking caves where all your friends died. I don't care how much psychological damage you need to work through. And as always, thanks for watching.